What's up, my dudes? This is the Lapper's Guide for MX Simulator, and right off the bat, in no way, shape, form, or fashion am I complaining about lappers in this video. I have to get this across to people at the very beginning because some of the things that I say might kind of make you think like that, but that's really not the case. I've gotten over the whole lappers thing a long time ago, and if you haven't gotten over it yet, then it'll come to you, okay? Just wait. It'll get to you. You'll eventually be like, oh, that's stupid getting upset about this because that's just the nature of the game. Like, you're going to stop getting so upset about the lappers, dude. Specifically in, like, online style races, not necessarily pro races. You'll get over it. I see a lot of people that complain about it and get mad at it and stuff like that. We all go through that stage. Even I went through that stage of getting mad at lappers and typing to them in chat and, you know, getting all pissed off about it. But you just get to a point where you realize, like, that's doing nothing. Like, complaining about the lappers is doing nothing. Like, you're making yourself mad. You're making yourself more upset. It's doing nothing for you at all. So I just thought I would come in here and make this video. And people need to understand these online servers, they're not pro racing servers. Like, you can't be pissed off because you got a beginner in an online server. Like, that's how you get better at the game. You have to race. So all these people that are getting pissed off, all these, you know, beginner level dudes shooting off the side of the track and crashing right in their way and stuff, you're getting mad for no reason, and not only that, but you're actually ruining the community as well, because then no one wants to even race in this game because everyone gets all pissed off about it. Like, stop, dude. Stop. If you're one of those people that types in chat in 03 pissed off at a lapper, just fucking stop, bro. Like, it's stupid. Like, apparently you haven't gotten to the level of realizing that's pointless yet, but you'll get there, okay? So, the tips on lapping people. Now, first of all, let me just go in here and say what you should do as a lapper, because I think that a lot of lappers may not even know. And honestly, like, I feel like 90% of lappers really aren't trying to get in your way. They're really not trying to make you crash. I mean, seriously, 90% of them. But you got to realize it's a simulator. You know, people are going to have trouble with a simulator. Like, they're gonna crash, especially if they're a beginner. They're gonna have trouble at that, and you just have to get that in your head before you get pissed off at them. Like, dude, they're just trying to learn the game. Like, I promise you, 90% of them are not actually trying to take you out and ruin your race and get in your way. They're really not trying to do that. So, but you do have the 10% that is trying to take you out and is trying to get in your way. And trust me, if you think you're having trouble with lappers or whatever, try to become a YouTuber, an opinionated YouTuber at that, and then get on there. Dude, I have people that are, like, not even mad at me. They're actual fans of me, and they tell me, hey, Spencer, I took you out just because I wanted to be able to say I touched Spencer Turley in a video game. Like, I impacted Spencer Turley in a video game, you know, contacted, I mean, it's just crazy. Like, people that are my fans, they're not even mad at me, you know, want to take me out just because it's like, oh my God, that's Spencer Turley. I'm not saying that in a cocky way, I'm just saying. And then you got the whole slew of people that hate me and want to take me out because they hate me. So, listen, dog, if you're somebody that's not even a YouTuber, you got it easy on these online servers. You don't even know what the fuck, like, having bad lappers is. You don't have a clue. So, just let it come from me. Let me tell you how to deal with this stuff, man, because it's not that easy. But you do have to get to a point where you just realize, like, you have two options, okay? You can either whine and cry and complain about it, or you can man up, realize how to get around them, and win more races. That's the two options here. So, okay, let me get back to what I was saying here. So, if you are a lapper, the best thing you can possibly do, you know, some people think that they should, like, kind of pull off to the side of the track, or they should pull to the outside of the track, or they should pull to the inside of the track if they have the blue bar come up or whatever. The worst thing you can possibly do as a lapper is turn. That's the worst thing you can do. okay? Do not turn. Because when somebody's behind you, they can't read your mind. They can't predict which way you're going to go. So the best thing you can possibly do is keep your bike as straight as possible and keep your speed as steady as possible. Don't like pick up speed. Don't slam on your brakes. Don't do anything like that. You know, some of them kind of freak out like, oh my gosh, I'm about to get lapped. Let me slam on my brakes. Well, a lot of times that's not the best thing to do because the person behind you is trying to read you and what you're going to do, and they're not anticipating on you slamming on your brakes. So, yeah, best thing you can do, man, is just keep a steady pace and don't turn. That's the best thing, and let the person go on by. If you're one of those kind of people that just wants to try to continue to race your race and right in front of somebody, they're eventually going to get around you. I mean, they did catch up to lap you, and if you don't basically somewhat just let them by, they're going to force their way by. So, yeah. But, okay, so a lot of people will think that since they are lapping other people, then they have the right of way. Like, that's what you would think. Like, you're the leader, you have the right of way, lappers are supposed to just get out of your way. Well, you can think that way, but that doesn't mean lappers are going to get out of your way. You know what I mean? So, in that sense, lappers have the right of way because you're the one that's you're the one that's caught up to them and you're trying to get around them. So, you're watching what they are doing more so than what they're watching what you're doing because you're behind them. All they're seeing is a blue bar. And, like I'm saying, a lot of them just don't even care to get out of the way. You have all different types of lappers out there. So what you do is, like, when you're catching up to a lapper, you're trying to read which kind of lapper they're going to be. You've got your standard lappers that are not trying to be in your way. They just slow down to a pretty good pace, let you on by. You've got those lappers that just bonsai all over the track. They don't give a fuck who's behind them. You know, you got those kind of people. And you've even got a layer above that. You've got the ones that act like they're going to get out of your way, and then they take you out. So you got that kind of vibe that goes on. You've got some that just kind of look like they're trying to get out of your way, and then they're actually not. You know what I'm saying? So you got to look out for all those different types of lappers out there. But when it comes to lapping people, it's all about learning how to slow your own pace down. And most people don't even know how to do that in this game. Most people just have one speed, that's all they know how to ride, and that's all they can do. And that's why they suck at racing. Like, you have to be a good racer in this game, especially on these online 5-lap servers where you got 30 lappers in there, you're going to have to learn how to slow your damn pace down. That's the only way to win these races. You can go fast the first couple of laps, but once you start getting to the lappers, like, you need to get your lap time shit out of your head. Don't even think about your lap time, because that don't even matter. You know, you could easily lose 50 seconds off of just running into lappers. So your lap time at that point is like laughable. But what gets tricky is when you're racing somebody else and you're really close to that person and you both are in a load of lappers. So you're both like trying to slow down your pace, but you can't because you're both racing. So that's where it gets tricky there. But the big difference between like these online servers like O3 and then pro racing is, even though you do still run into stupid lappers in pro racing, I mean, I've ran into them where they're just as idiotic and crazy as they are in O3. I've ran into them probably 10 times, 50 times in pro racing. So don't think it can't happen in a pro racing server, because it can and it will. So you just always have to be prepared for that. But yes, you do have a lot more people that just pull out of your way in the pro racing for sure. But not only that, in the pro racing, you're not catching the lappers as quick. So for instance, like, you're probably not even catching any lappers in a pro race until, like, I would say halfway through the main event. So that's 10 laps right there for you to be able to set yourself in a good position. Whereas these little 5-lap online racing servers, you're hitting lappers on like lap 2. So you don't have near the amount of time to like build up what I like to call a lapper barrier, where like before you've run into the lappers, you've got enough ahead of everyone else to where even if you do run into somebody lapper-wise, then you have a cush there. You got some cush going on, you know? So Like, you can do that a lot more in the pro racing because you have 10 laps to do it before you hit the lappers. So that's how it differentiates a little bit in the pro racing, and it's a lot more of just like a luck game in these little 5-lap online servers. I mean, especially when there's such short laps like that. If you have a Supercross server that's not at least 6 laps, then it's way more about the luck of it than it is the skill of it. You know what I'm saying? Whereas the pro racing, it's way more about the skill than it is the luck. Even though there is some luck in there, there's just a lot more racing laps to really improve your skill level. Whereas if you have one lapper do something stupid in a 5-lap race, your whole race is over, basically. But everyone's equal. Everyone else could also be hit by someone else. So that's kind of another thing that you run into there. It's an even playing field. That's what I love about motocross. It's always an even playing field no matter what's going on. I mean, yes, you can make the argument of like, well, this person got hit by this lapper and then that lapper got out of the way for the guy behind him or something, but that's racing. You know, it still is an even playing field to a pretty solid degree there. I feel like you just have to be able to get it in your head like that lapper can do anything. You can't just have it in your head like they're going to do the quote-unquote right thing, because a lot of times that just doesn't happen. You get what I'm saying? And in the pro racing as well, a lot of times, even when you do catch up to those lappers, they're not as near as apt to come up short on stuff, so you don't have to worry so much about landing on people. I know that's a really big thing in the standard online servers. Like, you'll land on somebody because they'll hit like a single out of a corner. They'll roll over a single, you know, or something like that, and you're trying to hit a triple, and obviously you get jacked up there. But that kind of shit doesn't really happen as much in the online pro racing stuff. But yeah, just trying to learn how to get around lappers. You got to learn patience. Patience is the key to it. You just got to know how to look ahead. You got to know how to read where people are going. To be honest, I don't even really look at my map very much. You might think I would, but I think it's a little bit more important to pay attention to what's actually in front of your bike more so than the map. I mean, the map could help you in a certain occasion here and there, I guess, but it's not going to be like that crucial. I think it's way more important just kind of seeing where everyone is in front of you. You got to know how to, like, when a lapper's in front of you, where if they will, like in certain areas where they're going to dart, like they're going to dart to try to hit a certain corner a certain way or whatever, you learn kind of how they start to do that, and you learn where to get on your brakes. You know, you can kind of read what they're going to do, is what I'm saying. Like, and that takes just so long amounts of time of racing in this game. You can't really learn it any other way. You can only do it by doing it. You can only learn it by doing it, you know. You can only learn by seeing just so many of the way these lappers react in certain occasions, like, and it gets really tricky whenever you have not only one lapper in front of you, but you have like 2 lappers in front of you, and then you have a lapper crashed in that corner in front of you. Then you're trying to figure out who's hitting the brakes, who's going to go ahead and just hammer it into the corner. You know, it's hard to read 3 people at once. And the best thing you can do in that sort of situation is just kind of get on your brakes and let it all play out. That's the thing about a lapper. If they're being really stingy and they're just kind of holding their line and they're trying to just run their race and stay in front of you and they're not really paying any attention to you, then all you got to do is just chill behind them for a few seconds, and I promise you they're going to crash, okay? 9 times out of 10, when you get those stupid people in front of you that's trying to run like a certain pace, if you don't just blow right by them and they're kind of trying to keep a steady pace, obviously, if they're that far behind and you're able to lap them, then they can't run that pace consistently whatsoever. So you can bet on them crashing. So what you want to do is just kind of stay behind them, but be out of their line, because you know they're just going to go flipping down through a rhythm section in the next 2.5 seconds. So, you know, that's a little trick there if you've got somebody being like that on you. But a lot of times you'll have them crashed up in the corner. You'll have a lot of people just wadded all up in the corners and stuff. And in that case, sometimes you're not going to be able to hit the jump that you can hit. That's a really big aspect to this kind of thing here, man. A lot of times you're just going to have to man up and hit a smaller jump. You don't have to be Hoss boy, hit a quad triple in every single lap when you got lappers everywhere, or you're going to crash and lose. It's just that simple. So, you know, you have to be able to be like, okay, I'm going to just not hit that jump because there's a lot of lappers in front of me. You got to be able to make those split-second decisions in certain occasions in this game, because that's what allows you to win these races, man. I mean, you got to know how to do that. And also, there's sort of like layers to the lappers. Like when you first start hitting the lappers, you're going to hit like probably the worst of the lappers at the beginning, and then there's like a bit of a spread out zone where there's not as many lappers after you hit the first pack of them. So you learn little things. You just learn where you can really get on the gas in between the lappers and where you really got to be careful and start slowing back down. You learn all that kind of stuff, you know. But the hardest thing is like when you're in the air, you can't do anything. So like if you've got lappers crashed in front of you and you're already in the air, I mean, what the hell are you going to do? Sing Kumbaya and pray to God? Like, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to hit that motherfucker. So it's all about trying to plan ahead when it comes to lappers. Like, okay, I've got 2 lappers crashed in this whoop section. Let me tone it down just a little bit. Or I've got 1 dude crashed over this triple. If you like see, let's just say you got 2 lappers in front of you, and both of them shoot up the triple right in front of you, and they're like, basically look like they're about to collide right in the air on the triple, then you don't want to hit that triple directly behind them. You know, you want to hit it a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right. You know, you can definitely play with your luck a little bit when it comes to lappers, but a lot of it is just luck. Sometimes they're crashed completely over a blind jump, and there's nothing you could have done to avoid it. You couldn't see them at all. I mean, that's the one occasion you could have looked at your map, I guess, but then you're not even looking at the track, and I don't even think it's really worth it in that sense, is what I'm saying. So, yeah, man, it's just something you learn over time, and it can be tricky for sure, but it's all about just being patient, toning that pace down. A lot of people, you know, they get all crazy and get upset because they think it ruined their race, but what you got to realize is, like, that dude that you think didn't crash with that lapper, he could run into a lapper as well. So it's even in a sense. You know, you always got to keep that in your mind. That's a really good like confidence booster. If you think your race is just getting screwed by all these lappers, well, that guy in front of you is having to deal with the exact same thing. So like, you know, you just got to realize that part of it. But it's a lot of fun once you get to the point where you can actually really start to read people on the track. And it just feels like you're just hitting green lights all over the place. You know, it's just like, oh, that lapper just crashed right there. Green light going right around him. This lapper crashed over here. Not going to hit him. Okay, dodge this dude perfectly. Okay, green light, green light, green light. That's what it feels like. You know, it feels like you're driving through town. It's just everything's green lights. That's what it starts to get like when you get your pace, lapper pace going right. You know, you're not above your speed level. But like I'm saying, that's where it gets tricky, though, when you're racing somebody else, because it's just so hard to, like, slow down. I mean, these little online servers, they're easy to me. You know, I don't care about my lap times. I'm just screwing around, just making sure I don't run into any lappers. The biggest thing, when you're lapping people, keep it on 2 wheels. Say it with me. 2 wheels, baby. That should be all that's running through your mind. You should not be worried about your lap time. You should not be worried about where second place is. You should not be worried about anything. You should not be worried about trying to take that lapper back out that just took you out, or you're going to lose the race. 2 wheels, baby. Keep it on 2 wheels. That's the whole trick to racing in this game. 2 wheels. Okay, a lot of people, their focus gets on other things more so than keeping it on 2 wheels. And what's tricky about that is, you know, you're trying to keep it on 2 wheels but also go fast at the same time. That's where you become like, you go from like pretty good level to God level if you can keep it on 2 wheels in the lappers and be flying at the same time. That's where it gets really tricky. But your risk factor when you're going that speed and there's lappers everywhere just gets times tenfolded when you're, when you're going that speed versus going a slower speed. Because obviously when you're going slower, you've got way more time to read where everyone's at and where they're crashed at and all that kind of shit. You'll realize that, like, the only reason you really crashed into that lapper is because you were going too damn fast for that spot on the track at that particular time. So that's a thing that you learn there as well. But yeah, it's just time will get you better at this aspect. Don't get frustrated with it. You got to understand it's part of these online servers. That's just what it is. You're not going to change it. You're never going to change it. The only way you would ever have something a little bit different if there was like pro-only racing servers. Then you could kind of complain a little bit if somebody was acting stupid in that, but you can't complain in these online servers, man. You can't do that. That's stupid. Like, these people are just trying to race in this game and get better at this game. That's all they're doing. So chill out with the typing on the chat, man. I mean, I've done it. We've all done it. We've all gotten pissed off at those lappers. I'm not, like, getting mad at you for doing it. I'm just saying, like, stop doing it. You'll learn to just stop doing that. You'll be a lot better off. I'm just telling you, man. But either way, I appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.